So hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. A real pleasure to be with you here at London Film Festival. Thank you so much for taking the time. Maybe you could begin with a brief introduction to your latest film, The Love That Remains. Yeah. What can people expect when they come to watch it?
Well, they can expect, I think, just a warm, playful film about life. Yeah, it's probably my most personal film, playful film about being a human being, basically.
And it does feel, quite different in sort of form and substance than Godlands. What kind of prompted, maybe that slight shift? And what was the initial inspiration for this fractured family that's at the center of your story?
It took quite a while to make this film. I mean, it started a long time ago. So sometimes it's hard to know exactly where the idea came from or the trigger was. So it's more like there are a couple of triggers and a couple of seeds that you kind of see over the time. But one of them was that I was making this short film with my kids, and they were building a treehouse, and I spent 2 years filming that short film, and when I saw them building this treehouse and talking and having fun and ups and downs, I started just thinking about what the parents were doing. So I started writing a narrative about the parents. So I think just in experiencing them and playing with them for such a long time, I just felt this this kind of importance of time, or like how precious time is, and how you spend time and who you spend time with. So I started thinking about, can you make a film about that? Just like how you spend your time and with whom. And I think it kind of grew out of that. And then also I think this feeling of, how people go through life, and are people, do they see what they have? Like, do they see the beauty in life, in the mundane, in the absolute normal, and things like this that I was exploring, I think.
And yeah, I guess on that note, we're very focused in on sort of, the quiet beauty of routine, of shared meals and domestic tasks, both when it's smooth and enjoyable and then when it goes wrong.
Yeah.
So why was it so important to you to zero in on those kind of like everyday moments that we share with each other, rather than something that could be more confrontational, let's say?
Yeah. I think sometimes when you're making something, you don't know maybe exactly what you want to make, but you until you see it, but you know what you don't want it to be, And I had very strong feelings of what I didn't want the film to be. I didn't want the film to be this kind of screaming match between a couple, and I didn't want to use too much time, because time is very precious in a film, and you have very little time to make a film, and also to just the duration of a film playing. So I didn't want to spend time on things like explaining things, why is this happening? Why is this family fracturing? Why is there something he did or she did, or I didn't want to use time on any of that. So yeah, sometimes you know what you don't want, but it takes a long time to figure out what you want actually, or what the film wants. So we decided very early on to spread the making of the film over a long time, so the film would kind of just evolve slowly and find itself,
And you were saying at the beginning there about it being playful, and there was this great balance of both the melancholy, but also humor, and these kind of creative flourishes, moments of absurdity, of dream sequences, fantasy, sometimes not sure, what's actually happening, what's in someone's imagination. So why was that another way to kind of approach this material that I guess we could have been sort of more somber and bleak, but kind of breaking through that with sort of these witty moments? Why was that important to you?
I don't know. My feeling was just after Godland that this film was very playful. The feeling of this film being very kind of open and playful, and like just that you didn't have to take everything too seriously, or it just had a raw energy that we tried to capture, and but I mean, and it also had like these absurd things, but life is quite absurd, you know, and life is quite crazy. So maybe it's not that far away from reality, but I remember us thinking a lot about creating a very strong fundament, you know, creating a real family that you would believe that was a family. I mean, that was important. And I think that was important to be able to push the film into strange places or areas where it kind of goes a little bit crazy. So it needed to have both. It needed to have a strong fundament, but also very playful and flexible, and you could push it to wherever it wanted to go. So.
And these are all your own kids, right?
Yeah.
And so how did you, and like, of course, for us to believe this is a family, there needs to be that authenticity and that ease that they have with each other, these very naturalistic performances. So what was your approach in that sense to kind of create that atmosphere on set? And how is it for you working with your kids? Do you sort of have to go in father mode sometimes rather than director mode? Like...
No, I don't know if it's just that they've been almost like playing, you know, I've been playing with them ever since they were born. You know, they've been in all of my projects almost, and they've been, you know, in my video installations or my films or my short films. And so for us, it's just a natural ongoing collaboration, to be honest. And it's easier and easier to invite them into the family or into the film crew, because the film crew is the same and they're really good friends of the family. So it's a very safe place to invite them into. And we're a very small crew. It's a very kind of low key, the whole thing. So it's very homemade in many ways, the film. And I think, you know, when you're creating an atmosphere, like a creative atmosphere where people can come in and make things together, it's often it's important to have it kind of safe, and where people can fail and they can do stupid things, and I think we just tried to create that, you know, so the kids could come in and be very free and kind of raw, you know, that where I just tried to capture some moments of reality or moments of impulses, or I think that was important for us.
And in terms of the casting of the couple, you know, how did you go about that? And I guess maybe in some ways, is it harder to play kind of a sort of worn out relationship than one that's burgeoning, you know, because it has to have this sense of shared history and weight to it that perhaps when it's, you know, something's just at the beginning, it can feel lighter and more playful.
Yeah, I think that's true, you know, because it's sometimes easier to just, you know, be very expressive, you know, and it's sometimes harder to hold back. You go where the film wants to go, and it maybe sounds silly, but I feel like if you spend a lot of time with something, you just, at a certain time in the process, you're not even like making decisions anymore. It's almost like the film is making its own decisions and you're just doing what it wants. So, and I think the thing that we've been trying for the last couple of years is actually to stretch out time and have more time with each project. And by doing that, just allowing the film to take over and just have this feeling of just losing yourself within it. And I think that's what we hope that the actors also go through. So they just kind of are just present, you know, and don't even think about it, that they're just in the scene. And that's what we at least hope to do. Yeah.
And it would be remiss not to mention Panda.
Yeah.
Not only a key character in the film, but also winner of the Palm Dog.
Yeah.
Was that something that was that always in the script? Was that something that sort of evolved on set, you know? And what did it mean to you for that award to come your way?
Yeah, I mean, I love and adore that dog. So, I mean, and we all do, every single person on set, I think. She's you absolutely fall in love with her. It's very easy. You always hear these things about not working with animals and kids, but I don't agree with it, because I think they surprise, you know, and I think that's one of the actually the things that you hope for the most when you're making something creative. You're hoping that the material will surprise you somehow. You don't want it to be stale and dead. You want it to be alive and surprise you, so it's bigger than you thought, and Panda is a good example of that. She was just so great that she just lifted the scenes in the film. So,
in terms of what can people be thinking or feeling when they leave the cinema, I guess there's a suggestion there, perhaps, the art, the everyday routine can help us heal, can help us reconnect. Maybe even you see like filmmaking as a way to kind of process things, as a way of kind of your place in the world. So what do you think some of the takeaways might be from the movie?
I mean, I think I always try to make things that are as open to interpretation as possible. I do, because I think people take different things with, from a film. And I think, films should be open for interpretation. And you don't have to settle on something specific. You can just take whatever you want out of it. But also film for me is very much like music. It's an experience, and you feel things, emotionally. And I just hope that people like tune into it, tune into the rhythm and the experience of the film. And I kind of like the feeling sometimes when you watch something that you maybe don't know what you have, maybe many different feelings, and you don't know, you don't need to put a word on it. It's just like music, it's hard sometimes to put a word on it. And I think that's what I hope, that it's a physical and mental experience for people to watch it, and they get something out of it for themselves.
Did you have a favorite scene or moment that you love for people to watch back, particularly maybe more of the playful ones?
Sometimes when you're watching something, you're just almost like bathed in something, and I think just like sometimes when we were editing this film, and also when in the process of like mixing it or putting sound on it, I just really enjoyed the scenes where it was just effortless, where things just feel like you're just spending time, and you don't have to, no one is plotting anything, or you don't have to understand something. You're just experiencing people enjoying themselves, or not even like just doing mundane things. Sometimes I think those were my favorite parts, where you didn't feel that you were kind of forced to understand anything, or we weren't explaining anything. I think I just like those scenes the most.
And obviously the film was in Cannes, now here at London Film Festival. We were just chatting before the interview about, perhaps what makes this festival quite distinct. So what has it meant to you to bring the film here, and perhaps a different way of connecting with audiences than at some of those other festivals?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a very kind of good relationship with the London Film Festival all the way from, I remember coming here, it's probably now 10 or 12 years ago, when we screened our debut film, Winter Brothers. So, and that's always nice when you have like an ongoing relationship, because sometimes if you have just one experience, it's more like you're just scratching the surface, But if you've been to a place a couple of times, it's a different kind of understanding you get, or you know it better. So I just really like the festival, because it's not too, you aren't like, it's not your premiere, but it's more like just they're like very nice screenings, and the audience is very kind of, you really feel the audience, that it's real people, and nice dialogues, nice, the Q&As are good, and I don't know, it's just a really nice festival.
And what's going to be next for you? I mean, this is your fourth film, like you said, like maybe a bit different from what you've done before.
Yeah.
What will you take forward from this project to your next one? Will you change direction again? What's next?
Well, hopefully we won't be repeating ourselves, too much. But I think a process of making things, that it's like for us, it's very much just a natural step forward. So we have we are working on a couple of things, but the one that is closest is almost like a side project to this one, which is like a 62-minute film that we just finished, which is called Joan of Arc, and it's basically 3 years of the kids building a figure and filling her with arrows, and their relationship and their ups and downs during that time. So it's a very playful and a crazy film, but a lot of fun.
Amazing. Well, can't wait to see that as well. Thank you so much for sharing all that with me. Huge congrats on the movie, and really enjoyed presenting it here in London. Thank you.
Thank you very much.